Let me ask you something. Right now, in this exact moment, are you in physical danger? Look around. Is there a predator in the room? Is someone chasing you? Is your life about to end in the next 5 seconds? No? Then why is your body tense? Why is your chest tight? Why does your mind feel restless? Why do you feel pressure, urgency, stress? Here's the uncomfortable truth. You're fighting something that isn't there. You're dealing with a ghost. Modern stress is not caused by what is happening, it is caused by what might happen. And that changes everything. There was a time when stress saved us. Thousands of years ago, if you heard a branch snap in the forest, your nervous system fired instantly. It produced adrenaline, cortisol, a heart rate spike, caused your muscles to tighten up. You either fought or you ran. Stress kept you alive. But here's the difference. Back then, the threat was real. A tiger wasn't a thought. It wasn't hypothetical. It wasn't what if this happens next month. It was immediate. It was present. And once it was gone, your body returned to baseline. Today, there is no tiger. What there is an email. There is a bill. There is a text message with a uncomfortable period at the end. There is a meeting next week. There is a memory from 5 years ago. There is a fear about what happens in 10 years. And your nervous system reacts the same way as a tiger. Why? Because your brain does not know the difference between imagination and reality. If you vividly imagine losing your job, your body reacts as if it is happening. If you replay an embarrassing moment, your heart rate increases again. If you predict rejection, your body embraces it. But here is the most important part. The fact that you have the time and space to think about these things is the proof you need that there is no immediate physical danger. Think about that carefully. If a tiger were about to pounce on you, you would not be calmly thinking about your 5 year plan. You would be worrying about. You wouldn't be worried about what someone said last week. You wouldn't be self-analyzing your self-worth. You would act immediately. The presence of overthinking is evidence of safety. Read that again in your mind. Hear that again in your mind. The presence of overthinking is evidence of safety. And yet, we treat our thoughts like emergencies. We are fighting ghosts, invisible threats generated internally, entire armies of them. They appear in the mind like pixels on a screen. What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if they leave? What if I'm not enough? Each thought triggers the same stress response designed for survival in the wild. Except now, there is nothing to fight, nothing to run from, nothing to kill. So the stress lingers. It doesn't discharge. It doesn't complete the cycle it was meant to do. It stays in the body and it multiplies. Stress used to be short bursts of survival energy. Now it's a constant background hum, low grade panic, chronic tension, persistent unease. And here's the dark irony. The thing that once saved humanity is slowly destroying it. Chronic stress is linked to heart disease, immune dysfunction, depression, anxiety disorders, your favorite word, burnout, sleep problems, hormonal imbalances. Why? Because the body was never meant to live in fight or flight permanently. You were designed for acute danger, not endless imagination. So, what changed? The threats moved from the outside world to the inside world. We evolved to handle physical danger, but we created psychological danger. We moved from tigers to thoughts, from predators to rejections, from survival in nature to survival in identity. Now the threat isn't death, it's humiliation, it's failure, it's insignificance, it's being left out, it's losing your status. And the mind treats this as life or death situations because in tribal times, social rejection meant literal death. If you were exiled from the group, you didn't survive long alone. So your nervous system still reacts intensely to social threats, but we no longer live in tribes fighting for survival. We live in a digital world. And now your brain processes likes, followers, comments, messages, career comparison, social comparison, as if they were survival metrics. This is why stress exploded. Not because life becomes more dangerous, but because imagination became more powerful. You can now simulate worst case scenarios endlessly in your mind. You can create 1,000 future disasters in one afternoon, and your body will respond to each one. This is what I mean by dealing with ghosts. They are not real in the present moment, but they feel real. And feeling real is enough to trigger biology. So the real question becomes, how do you fight something that isn't there? You don't. Okay? You don't fight it. You see it. There's a shift. Stress today is not the enemy. Unconscious identification with your with your thoughts is the enemy. When a stressful thought appears, we don't question it. We merge with it. We say, instead of I'm going to fail, it then becomes I am a failure. I might lose them becomes I am unlovable. The ghost becomes your identity. But here's a powerful realization for you. A thought about losing your job does not equal unemployment. A thought about rejection does not equal abandonment. A thought about a disaster is not a disaster, it is just imagination. And imagination is not reality. Your body doesn't know that, but your awareness can. This is where freedom begins, not by eliminating stress, but by recognizing when it is responding to imagination rather than reality. Pause for a second, right now, in this exact moment. Are you safe? I'm not saying next week. I'm not saying tomorrow. I'm saying right now. If the answer is yes, I am safe, then your stress is a complete ghost. And ghosts dissolve in the light of awareness. They only survive in darkness. When you believe every thought automatically, you fuel them. When you question them, they weaken. When you observe them in your mind, they lose power. But on the other hand, when you fight them, they grow. Because fighting a thought signals to the brain, this is important, this is dangerous. So what does it do? It generates more. That's why trying to stop thinking never works. You don't beat ghosts by swinging it at the air. You beat them by realizing they are projections. So why did stress go from being humanity's savior to becoming its silent killer? Because the environment changed, but our nervous system didn't. We evolved for short-term physical threats, but we created long-term physical ones. And we never learned how to update the system. Schools didn't teach it, society doesn't teach it. We're taught to succeed. We're taught how to compete, how to achieve, but not how to regulate our internal world. So we accumulate invisible battles every day, every week, every year, until burnout feels normal, anxiety becomes normal, tension feels normal, and we come to think that something is wrong with us, but nothing is wrong with you. You're responding perfectly to imagined threats. The system is working. It's just misapplied. So, what's the solution? It's simpler than you think and harder than you expected. It's presence. Presence is the solution. Not as a cliche, not as a trend, but as biology. When you fully anchor in the present moment, stress drops. Why? Because the present moment rarely contains a catastrophe. The catastrophe lives in projection. Try this. Notice your breathing. Notice the sensation of your body in the chair. Notice the sounds around you. Right now, I ask you again, is there danger or just thought? This is the difference between surviving imagination and living reality. Stress is the messenger. It asks one question. Is there danger? If the danger is real and immediate, then act. If the danger is imagined and future-based, just observe it. Most of our stress is on the second category, ghosts. And once you see that clearly, something shifts. You stop treating every thought like a fire alarm. You stop reacting to every internal signal. You begin responding instead of reacting. And this changes your health. It changes your relationships. It changes your performance. it gives you peace. Because when you're not constantly fighting invisible enemies, you have energy. Energy to create, energy to connect, energy to love, energy to live. The tragedy of modern stress is not that we feel it, it's that we don't question it. We assume because it feels urgent, it must be real. But urgency is not proof of truth. Emotion is not proof of danger. Intensity is not proof of reality. So here's the invitation. Next time stress appears, don't immediately obey it. Just pause and ask, is this happening right now? If the answer is yes, go for it, act. If no, which is probably what's happening, then breathe. You're not weak for feeling stress, you're human, but you're not required to fight ghosts forever. The wild is gone, we're not in the wild anymore, the tiger is gone, but the imagination remains. And imagination can either imprison you or be seen through. So let me ask you one last time, right now, in this moment. Are you safe? If the answer is yes, then maybe the thing you've been fighting was never there at all. And maybe freedom can begin for you. When you stop running from shadows, that freedom will come. If this shifted something in you, comment below. Ghosts aren't real. Let's see how many people are ready to stop fighting the invisible. And if this message resonated with you, please subscribe, because learning how to master your internal world is the greatest survival upgrade of the modern age. So please subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, leave me a comment, turn on the notification bell, and I will see you on the next video on Beyond Suffering.